great actor, but must be an idiot supporting the Democratic Party. Robert De Niro, comes out and makes the joke. And, of course, we have the video of it. I may play it later. And he went through and listed the names of the different wives of Ann Romney, Karen Santorum, Callista, that's her name, Gingrich, and said, I don't think we're ready for a white first lady. They're invoking race. And people say, well, wait, that's just a joke. Okay, well, if it was a comedian that told jokes about everybody, I think in a way that's healthy just to get over it. But the politically correct folks never want people to get over it. They teach anti-gun. They teach all this race stuff in school. The kids aren't even thinking about race. And you're there being told about it. And then there's this sense of entitlement with, quote, minorities, who are pretty much the majority now in this country, if you put the minorities together, that the whites are the ones making them have a bad day, and that the government's minorities' friends. Well, let me tell you, minorities, the government is not your friend. Are there some good people in the government? Have some good things been done occasionally? Yes. But overall, the government is directed by globalist, eugenics, social engineers. So there is my point on that front. It is disgusting. And Obama campaign has apologized because it was an official Obama fundraiser event. And it's despicable that the media isn't calling for, boycotts and things. Because I normally wouldn't say boycott somebody like Robert De Niro. But the entire Democratic Party is trying to get Rush Limbaugh off the air right now. And believe me, if they can bring him down, you better believe people like me are next. There's been all sorts of campaigns in the background against me over the years, but my sponsors and my affiliates, all love freedom. They know they get a great response, ratings, and the advertisers get a great response, and none of that's ever been successful. But it's gone on. I mean, they will take anything and exaggerate it and blow it up and start a campaign. But with Limbaugh, and I know people that carry the show, I'm up against Limbaugh, never did that on purpose. That was the time Genesis 14, 15 years ago chose, that they had stations that wanted to pick it up. I had a nighttime show. That's what I would have rather done. That's when I really wake up. But I'm not here like Huckabee is, trying to get Limbaugh off the air so that he can have his stations. I don't think like that. Oh, good, Rush Limbaugh's in trouble. Because I even know some stations are looking at dumping him, and we're getting contacted about picking up the show. And I don't want affiliates like that. Because even though I disagree with a lot of what Rush Limbaugh does, folks, this is a psyop to shut down free speech in this country. Okay? I mean, they can say whatever they want about conservatives, but he makes a joke about some lady who wants thousands of dollars of condoms, and they want him off the air. All right, we're now into hour number 2. Dr. Russell Blaylock is going to join us for a little over an hour. We will have some time to take a few calls for him. I haven't gotten into this yet. I've mentioned it, but Syrian Al-Qaeda takes credit for deadly bombings that our media calls a protest. When you blow up a police station and you blow up government buildings, that's protesting. And the Syrian government, who's been fighting this now for really 8-9 months, is not supposed to shoot back. And again, I'm not a fan of Assad, but compared to a lot of people in the region, the guy's an angel. And boy, when I tell you, once they put Al-Qaeda in charge over there, the Christians, Al-Qaeda has said, are going to be forced out. So you better believe the U.S. government's backing them, along with NATO. And they've said that they're going to kill some of the little minority Muslim groups that the Wahhabists don't consider to be real Islamic groups, even though they date back to the time of Muhammad. There's some little minority groups that are small little sects that Assad's a member of. And they're telling them, you're dead. And the Christians are dead if they don't leave. So Christians have been there for 2,000 years. In fact, one of the oldest Christian communities in the world is Syria. And they live in peace there. Well, not anymore. And it'll be a footnote in the news. What are we going to do? They're killing the Christians and the Jews. So there's Jews there too. And the Muslims. And it'll just be, well, that's peace. Hey, they're lining up thousands of blacks and killing them in Libya. Well, that's peace. Angelina Jolie loves it. She says, attack Libya. And George Clooney's freaking out over Sudan and the Christians being bombed. And his answer is, have a big war there. And he's on there going, look, I'm here with these civilians being bombed, and right behind him are troops with machine guns. And by the way, I don't think flying over civilians and dropping bombs, carpet bombing, in World War II that was done. And I've heard Limbaugh and people say, well, that's good. And, in World War II, we killed millions with carpet bombing. We need to stop worrying about that and do that in the Middle East. Really? Really, we didn't do that until World War II. And so I don't want to hear George Clooney criticizing the Muslims flying over what they believe are military bases and bombing them and killing civilians. By the way, I'm against it. And then, though, but it's good for the United States to do stuff like that. Again, it's schizophrenic, hypocritical thinking process. And I remember Limbaugh a few years ago, since I was mentioning him, saying, listen to these generals apologizing for them, killing civilians and bombings. Listen, you need to kill more people. That's what war is. Not in any military system except Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun until World War II. Until World War II. And, of course, Kurt Vonnegut, who was captured as a member of the U.S. military in Germany while it was being bombed, and watched his buddies being blown up. That's what Slaughterhouse 5 is about. They're being held in an old slaughterhouse as the prisoner of war camp, and he's describing the bombs going off and cussing at the aircraft that he'd just been in months before, bombing him. Dresden, they report, in one night lost over 400,000 people, most of them children, because it had been designated as a children's city. A city where you could, England had some areas that were off limits from German bombing. And all you guys, I see people saying, kill the Muslims, kill them all. Really, are you going to walk up to a little 2-year-old little girl, your little eyes looking at you, going to shoot her? No, you're not. You're going to sit around and you're going to shoot your mouth off about how tough you are because you play video games all day simulating murder. And you think it's cute. It's not cute. Really, if you think killing all the Muslims and carpet bombing them is good, then endorse the sergeant who just killed 18 or 19 people, including little toddlers, blowing their brains out. Endorse that then. Then I'll believe that you want to kill.
When you're out on the road, the last...
All right, joining us for the next hour, and perhaps a little bit into the next, we'll take some phone calls, is Dr. Russell Blaylock, MD. He's a retired board-certified neurosurgeon and author, helped develop and invent some of the most common forms of brain surgery we see today, so he's a pioneer. He's a former clinical professor of neurosurgery at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. He's the author of a number of books and numerous scientific articles, including Excitotoxins. Decades ago, he exposed these. Now it's in the mainline literature. The Taste That Kills, 1994. Health and Nutrition Secrets That Can Save Your Life, 2002. Natural Strategies for Cancer Patients, 2003. And he writes a monthly newsletter, the Blaylock Wellness Report, RussellBlaylockMD.com. RussellBlaylockMD.com is just one of his sites. Blaylock has, again, exposed MSG, H1N1 3-4 years ago. He said it's going to reduce your overall immune system. It's going to actually cause the flu. And then after the whole run took place, they had to admit the H1N1 wasn't that dangerous. It reduced your normal immunity. It caused all sorts of neurological disorders. He got attacked at the time, but boy, did he get proven right in triplicate. And I want to cover the waterfront today with him, whatever areas he wants to get into. I want to look a little bit later, though, at government-run healthcare, because Paul Watson, one of our prolific writers, the editor of Prisonplanet.com, is in England. He was a great writer a decade ago, saw his own website, propagandamatrix.com. I hired him. Well, he's actually a contractor, but he runs the site. And Paul jogs, great shape, everything. He got some type of chest cold, and for a month could hardly talk when I'd get him on the phone or talk to him via Skype for the show. And it took him over a month to get in to see the government health service, the National Health Service. And once, and I knew this, but I'd forgotten it. I said, why don't you go to a private doctor? I know they have me. He goes, yes, you have to get in to see the government first. And then they have to refer you if they feel like it. They have to refer you to a private specialist. So they take all this money, out of his earnings. It's incredible for the National Health Service. 1 month. And I've watched the House of Commons on C-SPAN where they admit that you'll wait 18 months for a brain surgery that's 99% operable if it's done within a few months, and almost completely fatal if they don't immediately, get in there. And it's a death sentence. And I've seen members of parliament admit, they go, yes, that is too long, we're working on it. It's rationing of care. But now they're admitting it is about the death panels. They're now, so Bill Gates has said that, now they're admitting rationing. This is the horrible government over our health care as a tool of control. So I wanted to first raise that with him and then get into all the big developments on vaccines, aspartame, neurological disorders, things like what we see happening with the massive increases in people getting Alzheimer-type diseases, and the fact that the system knows that there are very effective countermeasures, but it's not being taught on the national news. So we're here to break that blockade. Dr. Blaylock, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Well, thank you, Alex.
Out of the gates, let's spend a few minutes on this socialist health care plan, and the Supreme Court's now hearing it, and they're saying it may be actually affirmed and approved, and life under this. I don't think people understand how horrible it is.
Well, I don't think they do. I think you're exactly right. And of course, the socialists have always targeted health care in every country as their initial point of attack because it controls so much of the economy. I mean, the economy is interrelated to the healthcare system in so many ways. So they knew that if they could capture the healthcare system, that was a tremendous inroad to socializing the rest of the economy, including taking private property, confiscating guns, and increasing the power of government in a dictatorial way. They knew all of that. And they knew that the public would find sympathetic ways to entice the public into this. We're going to pay for your health care. It's not right that people are doing without health care. And of course, a lot of the truth of the health care system is covered up. Nobody in this country goes without health care. That's a total lie. They knew it. Anybody can walk into an emergency room and get treated, including illegal aliens. That's why these hospitals are going bankrupt. They knew that. They knew there was access everywhere to everyone. There's not a soul in this country that doesn't have access. But they made this argument, we have these people that are not insured. Well, it turned out that most of them were young people who didn't want insurance. They said, I'm healthy, I'm young, I'm not going to probably need this. I can walk into any emergency room and get care. So they opted not to get the insurance. Well, they made you think, or the general public think, well, these people are so poor they can't afford health insurance and they're doing without, and they're just dying in the street or in their homes. Well, this is the same illusion they created in England to get their national health care system. It's the same system they used in France and Germany, all over the world. And it's only people like you and some of the others who are exposing this lie from the